All right, man, peace. So, brothers, I stated many, many moons ago that part of the LeBron James package was going to include eventually getting rid of Lonzo Ball. I just don't see him fitting in with LeBron. And I think that part of the reason why LeBron James is attempting to push or promote his so-called big brother persona on Lonzo Ball is because he's prepping him to eventually get shipped out for a big star. I just don't see where, with all the multitude of ball handlers and ball distributors that they have on their team, where Lonzo's going to fit in. I don't see how he's going to grow as a leader playing behind Rajon Rondo, but we'll see. We'll see. I may be wrong. But I do not think that Lonzo Ball is long for LA. We're going to find out. So anyway, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Oh boy, Lonzo Ball will make his preseason debut tonight on ESPN against the Warriors. It'll be him and LeBron out there together. Stephen A. Smith, what is your expectation for this double L duo?
Well,
I expect there to be some growing pains with Lonzo Ball. I think that there may be some issues with him trying to fit in with the second team. Oftentimes, the best player on the second team, or the player who's expected to commandeer the second team, has to have some verve to his personality. And presumably, he'll be on the second team with Lance Stevenson. So will Lance Stevenson allow him to be the point guard that he needs to be, or will Lance be trying to dominate the basketball? We know that Lonzo will probably be out there with his buddy Kyle Kuzma. So they should fit together moderately well. If Lonzo is able to show out and perform well, execute the offense relatively well, he could possibly start to get some time with both Rajon Rondo and LeBron James on the floor at the same time, but we'll see. I just think that right now the Lakers have too many of the same type of player, and that what that leads me to believe is that they're going to try to package many of their young stars for a major talent to play with LeBron over the next 4 years. We'll see what happens.
Listen, you know how I feel about what the Lakers are going to do this season, but as it pertains to LeBron,
Remind everyone.
They're going to the Western Conference Finals. That's my position.
Yeah.
I think
Well, Stephen A. Smith, what you're saying is that the Lakers are probably going to defeat the Houston Rockets in the second round. That's what you're saying. At least that's what you think that you're saying. But as usual, I'm not quite sure if you figured out that teams are going to play one another based off of where they're seated. So the Lakers are going to have to be a 3 seed or a 6 seed most likely to face the Rockets in the second round. And if they're a 6 seed, they'll probably be playing a team like maybe the OKC Thunder in the second round, who I think are going to give them everything that they can bargain for, especially if they're fully healthy heading into the postseason. We'll see.
Houston obviously has the potential to ruin it by and I should say ruin because I got no problem being in H-Town, but I look at the Houston Rockets, obviously.
Well, dude, are you making these prognostications, these predictions with your brain? Since you allege to be such an expert on basketball, are you picking these teams that you think are going to win in the playoffs with your other head, based off of which strip club you prefer to go to? I mean, come on now.
Obviously, they're formidable enough where it could be them and Golden State, but I just have this sneaky suspicion that the Lakers are going to be there in the Western Conference Finals.
Honestly, that wouldn't shock me. I mean, just to be fully transparent, even though I'm giving Stephen A. Smith a bit of a hard time right now, it would not shock me if the Lakers got to the third round. As of right now, I have them going out in the second round, but it would not shock me if they got to the third round.
As it pertains to Lonzo Ball, as Max has alluded to on many occasions, a lot will depend on his ability to shoot the three, to hit perimeter shots. Only shot about 30% from three-point range, which was an improvement based on how awful he looked earlier on in the season.
Lonzo's also going to have to show far more growth in regards to his assertiveness and his leadership abilities on the floor. Because if he's not aggressive, a lot of those older guys are going to eat him alive. Lance Stevenson is going to eat him alive. Michael Beasley is going to eat him alive. So he's going to have to show that he can hold his own. One thing that Lonzo Ball stated is that he thinks that the team is going to be better this year because there are more vets in the locker room. In other words, he was saying the team was too young last year, too many young guys on the same team. But will he be able to show his worth on a team like this that has a mix of players that want to win now, as opposed to players who are trying to still mark their territory in the NBA, proverbially speaking?
I think LeBron and Lonzo are going to be good, really good defensively, because people forget that Lonzo's 6'6" and can defend.
Well, here's the problem, Stephen A. Smith. LeBron James has not been good defensively for the past 4 years. So to think that Lonzo Ball and LeBron are going to be good defensively, what you're really saying is that Lonzo Ball is going to be good defensively. Because we know what LeBron's going to be doing. He's going to be playing free safety.
So they forget that. Now you got to bulk up because you can push him around, but his length.
Well, he's bulked up quite a bit.
Length, that's going to make him very formidable. With Kuzma and Brandon Ingram and those guys, if they're committed to trying to play defense, they could cause some problems for a lot of teams because they're so lanky and so long. Offensively, fast break. Luke Walton wants to push the ball. If he is successful, I interviewed him the other day, just talking to him.
You mean LeBron wants to push the ball?
If they're successful pushing the basketball, I think it will benefit them. My struggle with them is going to be those two from the perimeter, because if they're feeding off of one another, it's really off the fast break. You don't want them in pick and roll situations because somebody's got to pick and pop and what have you. And I don't see LeBron doing that too often. And I don't know if Lonzo is capable of that. So as long as they're pushing.
Well, Stephen A., you could say the same thing about LeBron James and Rondo. That's been my issue with this team. Who exactly is going to play off the ball? Is LeBron James actually going to play off the ball, or is he just talking? I think that there's a far greater chance of him playing off the ball with Rondo, but I think that there are going to be some moments of contention between those two as the season goes along.
Pushing the ball up the floor, they'll be formidable. They'll definitely be formidable on the defensive end, which will create fast break opportunities. My trepidation about them involves their perimeter prowess, which I think is not going to be as formidable as I would like, because I'm not convinced that Lonzo Ball can shoot yet.
Yeah, and who is the guy on that team who puts the ball on the floor and can finish? Like, everyone says closer, and I'm always kind of like
LeBron.
saying, oh, that's ridiculous. LeBron is actually that guy, which sometimes creates an interest.
LeBron James will obviously be their closer. As a matter of fact, Luke Walton already came out and stated that. Point blank, LeBron James is the closer. There's really nobody else on the team to even vie for being a closer other than maybe Brandon Ingram.
An interesting dynamic with him, because he's also usually the guy with the ball in his hand, because he is the greatest basketball genius there is, right?
Well, he's a basketball megalomaniac. And intrinsic within being a megalomaniac oftentimes is genius. Sometimes it can be delusion. But in the case of LeBron James, yes, he is a basketball genius. The problem with his genius is that it's never been tempered. He's never been taught actually how to play real basketball within a team framework. But he's such a genius, and he's able to take his skills to the next level on any team that he's on and lead them to 50 wins and playoff contention and championship contention that nobody tells him anything. He's almost like a great artist that never truly learned how to mix colors or values or what have you. He just takes a brush and just takes a canvas and creates a great piece of artwork. Nobody tells him, hey, this could be a little bit better or that could be a little bit better. Because at 33, 34 years old, you really think LeBron James is really trying to learn how to play in a system? That's why I stated there was no chance that he was ever going to sign with the San Antonio Spurs. As woke as Popovich acts like he is, he was never going to go there. LeBron James claims he loves Popovich so much, but he will not go to that team. Why? Because he needs a place where he can showcase the LeBron James system.
As smart as some other players are. That's one of the reasons I think they went and got Rondo. Because they can take the ball out of LeBron's hand, not only with another brilliant basketball guy, but a guy who's been there and can play big and can orchestrate and is a veteran and has championship pedigree.
And also can act as a guru for Mr. Lonzo Ball.
And I think the combination, the question is the LL duo, right? The LeBron-Lonzo duo. What effect does it have on...
For however long it lasts. I wouldn't even use that term, the LeBron-Lonzo duo, because they probably will not even be getting that much playing time together, at least not in the first month. Depending on how well Lonzo plays, they'll probably start to get more minutes together. But just because Lonzo starts to get more minutes does not mean that they value him on that team anymore. It could just be that they're showcasing him.
On the team. First of all, I think they're going to take more L's, speaking of L, than people suspect, than you suspect. I don't think their win-loss record at the end of the season is going to be quite as good as people anticipate. I do think they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs.
Well, LeBron James' teams have not performed particularly well in the regular season over the last few years. I mean, somewhere in the low 50s is normally where his teams finish. I say that's not particularly performing well because for a player who's oftentimes compared to Michael Jordan, he's not had that many 60-win seasons. At least not as many as one would think.
And the reason is, I recall Magic's first game back. After HIV, he came back briefly and he played power forward, but like a point forward. And the Lakers lost that first game he came back. But, boy, was everyone passing the ball. He had a contagious effect.
I remember that when Magic Johnson came back in the 95-96 season for that little short stint. He was extremely, extremely entertaining. Of course, he was not the player that he once was, but you could still see that little spark of greatness there. The way he could galvanize his teammates, the way he could take over games and spots. There's a great game that he played in that season against Orlando, where he and Penny Hardaway went at one another. And it was amazing to see Magic Johnson hold his own still at that age against Penny Hardaway. I believe the Lakers won that game. You can catch that game on YouTube. Just to show you how great a player Magic Johnson was at 36 years old, he went down to Orlando and was able to outplay, I believe Penny Hardaway played in that game.
The passing and the unselfish play, and everyone was like, well, I'm playing with Magic Johnson. I want to play like Magic Johnson. Sometimes that can be a problem if you don't have the guys who say, okay, I'm going to shoot the ball. Lonzo's not a shooter. Rondo's not a shooter. They do have some guys who can. Hart and KCP can shoot the ball. Ingram will learn how to shoot the ball. He can put the ball on the floor. But what I see most of all from that pairing is a contagious effect in terms of sharing the ball. This team is going to move that ball.
They've been doing it in preseason, but what I would say as a retort to all of that is, who's to say that's going to benefit Lonzo? And here's what I mean.
I agree with that, Stephen A. Smith. I've been saying that for the longest time. Lonzo Ball is meant to be a ball-dominant point guard a la Rajon Rondo. He's not particularly going to fit in too well on a team where you have a multitude of distributors.
Rondo can play the point. KCP can play some point if necessary. Ingram. So I'm saying there are a multitude.
Hell, even Lance Stevenson can play the point a little bit.
Multitude of options that the Lakers have put in place that takes Lonzo Ball off the court. So when we say LeBron and Lonzo, well, we know LeBron's going to be on the court.
Well, I have a counter to that.
Sure.
Which is, it's in LeBron's best interest to make sure that Lonzo is on the court. And
I agree, sir.
And that Lonzo is doing well. And that Lonzo looks like a valuable player. Because there are tradable, you want to create, if you're the Lakers, as many tradable commodities on your team as you can.
Completely agree. And I believe that is what the method to LeBron James's quote-unquote big brother madness is. Calling Lonzo Ball a quote-unquote young king. I think that he sees the same thing that I see in Lonzo Ball. That being a lack of confidence and also a certain lack of surety in regards to whether or not he actually wants to be an NBA player. A lot of these guys don't really want to be an NBA player. The lights get to be too bright. The focus is too sharp. The pressure is too overpowering. And they say, you know what? This is not quite what I bargained for. When I was in high school and I shot 4 for 12, I still got decent coverage. I got pats on the back. Now in the pros, I shoot 4 for 12 and I'm getting called a bum. I've never experienced this before. A lot of players crumble under the pressure. So we'll see. I think that Lonzo Ball has the potential to be a very good point guard in the NBA. But I don't quite like what I see from him in regards to body language and just his facial expressions. His overall countenance to me is not somebody who really wants to be a great NBA player.
Because if a superstar becomes available this year, and the Lakers want to hold on to either Kuzma or Ingram, Lonzo's going to have to look attractive enough to other teams to package with one of those two to get something good. And so I think Lonzo actually will play plenty of minutes. He will have the ball in his hand a lot more than people suspect.
I think that he'll get anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes. Now, if he plays exceptionally well, it could maybe even go up to 30. That meaning that he would be on the floor a lot more with LeBron and Rajon at the same time. But it depends on how well he fits into the overall offense.
And that includes with Rondo on the team, and he will have numbers because that will translate into a more attractive trade asset to other teams.
I don't think that LeBron wants Lonzo going. I think that LeBron wants to be a part of grooming Lonzo into being that stellar point guard that they envisioned him being when they...
I have to disagree with you there, Stephen A. Smith. I think that LeBron James wants what's best for LeBron James. I think that he's ready to be your friend as long as he needs you. When he does not need you, he'll cut you off with the quickness. When it's time for you to get released or traded, that's just how it goes. Remember last season on the Cleveland Cavaliers, supposedly he was this great teammate and he hangs out with the guys and they go to parties together, they have these functions together. But around late December into January, LeBron just retreated into his shell. He no longer was willing to lead the team. And then he hit a game-winning shot against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And that little guy, Isaiah Thomas, ran up to him to try to get a hug, to try to get some attention, and LeBron acted like he wasn't there. Why is that? Because LeBron already knew Isaiah Thomas was out of there. Even Dwayne Wade, his so-called good buddy, when he got sent packing to the Miami Heat, he came to LeBron and was like, did you know about this? Why would Dwayne Wade ask LeBron if he knew about it unless he suspected that LeBron James was hiding something from him? Point being is this: LeBron is going to be your friend if he needs to, because at the end of the day, it's all about LeBron.
When they drafted him number 2 overall. And I think that LeBron is going to take a special interest. He genuinely likes this kid. And I think he's going to take a special interest in this kid. And I don't think Lonzo is going anywhere. But that may mean that there's a maturation process that has to take place as we're going along. And that might lead to Lonzo sitting down a little bit more. If that happens, how's LeVar Ball going to react to that?
We'll see. LeVar Ball is certainly a nuclear detonator waiting to go off. That's for damn sure. He's not somebody that you want to put a microphone in front of if his son is not getting the playing time that he thinks his son should be getting. But that definitely is a factor that we're going to have to watch out for, and I've mentioned that numerous times myself.
And what kind of distraction is that going to create?
And then does Lonzo stay on the team?
And then does Lonzo stay?
Which goes back to my point.
Stay tuned.
You better make him look good.
Yeah.
Lonzo better look good one way or another.
Well,
while he's
Here's what we do know. He tweaked and worked on his jump shot.
Well, stop that.
He did.
I agree with you, Stephen A. Smith. Molly Karam's trying to talk basketball. She's trying to talk it with authoritativeness. But once again, Stephen A. Smith, when you don't train your dog properly, it's going to turn and start to bark at you. Look at how she's looking at him. But Stephen A. Smith is correct. Yes, he tweaked his jump shot, but what does that really mean? Unless we're able to quantify that it's more proficient now. He changed his form a little bit. Hopefully, he'll get better results. But we don't know exactly what the tweaking actually means.
Who cares?
It's going to take a lot more.
It's going to take a lot more than tweaking.
He shoots it from the wrong shoulder.
You look at the game of basketball.
Yeah.
When you shoot that bad with your form,
Did he work on it?
that is a reclamation
Did he work on it?
project.
Was it a fact? What I said?
I'm just
Was
saying.
an opinion?
It was a fact, but I'm just like I'm just saying.
You're like there's a long way to go.
Yes, there's a very long way to go. But just to get back to the point, and I mentioned this in other videos, it would not surprise me if somewhere down the line, LeVar Ball has all 3 of his sons playing in the JBA. That would not shock me at all. Because we know his second son is never going to make it to the NBA. And when I say never, they say never, but I don't think that we're ever going to see his second son in the NBA. In regards to LaMelo, I'm not quite sure what we're going to see from him because I'm not able to ascertain how he's developing as a player. Now, Lonzo is the player who has the best chance to stay in the NBA because he was able to land there before the ball mania hit the mainstream. The question with him is, does he have the focus and the mental fortitude?
There you go. As Coach Mackey teaches steady bucket. It's a hinge. It's straight. It has to be a hinge from the shoulder, the elbow. So when you're shooting it from the wrong shoulder, he brought it from here to here. Mm-hmm. He's got like a couple seasons to go. To get
all I said is he's working on it. You're jumping all over me.
Do you know who, speaking of assists, do you know who Coach Mackey, he names moves after different players. Cross them, get your knee down like Kyrie Irving. The shot is after Klay Thompson.
Look at.
Well, the real issue, once again, with Lonzo is not just the form, it's just the proficiency, because you've had other players who had weird shots. Jamal Wilkes, Kevin Martin. These guys had weird deliveries, but they made the shot. Lonzo's not even making the shot. So when you have a weird shot and you don't make it, people hone in on the shot more. You have players who've had perfect releases, a perfect form, and very low proficiency. People don't concentrate on the form because it looks right, so they just say that player can't shoot.
Look at you. What a segue.
But anyway, that's basically it on the LeBron-Lonzo storyline. We'll see where this exactly goes. I think that the Lakers overall are going to be a dumpster fire this year in regards to what's going on in the locker room. I believe that it's only a matter of time before LeBron and Rajon Rondo turn on one another. I'm not quite sure if Lonzo is mentally built for the NBA. I'm not quite sure if he wants it bad enough. And in regards to some of the other factors on the team, I just think that it's a bad mix. Lance Stevenson and Michael Beasley on the same team. And then a relatively neophyte coach in Luke Walton. It has all the recipes for a big dumpster fire. But anyway, peace.